Hey guys, it's Rod again. We finally got our various technical problems worked out, and we're back to posting battle reports. What we've got tonight is, I think, a short but very dramatic game, in my opinion. I sort of was out of contact with Jay for a little bit, what with this and that, so we weren't. So since we didn't have something prepared in advance this week, I sort of threw something together. He showed me a list he had that he said, this is my power build, so go ahead and build against it if you want to. So I sort of tried to do a little of that, but really tried also to play a piece, at least one piece I hadn't played before. I played Oroniel, the Solar Angel, which was the first time for me doing that. And because it was thrown together and I was throwing cards together at the store and not using the Legion Builder, there are a couple of errors. I'll talk about that in a minute, but let's look at the lists, and this time I'll show you Jay's list first. So we've got Jay's list here, starting with a favorite, Mogros, with both Fire and Shadow Breath. Close Quarters for his close combat ability. False Life, defensive spell, and Magic Missile, a little offensive spell that could come in handy. Next, we've got a brand new on the Dragon Wing Den YouTube channel is Xeno, the Mind Flayer. He's got. So first, the thing you may notice is that he's got the Fly spell on him, so he will be flying during the game. That's something both Jay and Jeremy have been discussing of trying to get the most out of Xeno by making sure he's flying. I don't necessarily think he needs to fly. I think there are some options for him with having him still not be flying, especially with Dominator. We'll see how that goes. I may try my own build to see how it does. But anyway, I pointed out the fly spell because you'll notice the first upgrade actually listed under him is Collision, which makes your primary weapon melee attacks do penetrating damage if you moved 4 or 5 and you're flying. Now, the fly spell movement dial does not actually have a 4 on it, so this is unfortunately not an upgrade that is useful at all for Jay. So that's too bad, but now we know, right? He's also got Dominator, which can force an opposing flying creature, as an action, can force an opposing flying creature of lower level, and remember Xeno is level 18, so almost everything is lower level. Force that creature to land, and or do a 1 forward or a 1 soft forward, 1 soft left or right, pardon me. So that's an interesting movement control ability. Mind Blast is Xeno's ranged attack, area attack. It's sort of like a breath weapon. It's got a cone-shaped, 5 dice that's his primary weapon value. The gimmick here is he has to spend a concentrate to do it, concentrate token, to use this attack, and that is because it ignores, what's the word? It's damage dice can't be deflected by armor, so Calamity special ability doesn't do anything against it. So we'll see if that's worth the concentrate token or not. And finally, Extract Brain is an upgrade to his primary weapon melee attack, which when he does damage with it, he immediately gets to do another 3 dice attack, which can't be deflected by, armor, or at least penetrates armor, and you can't roll defense dice against it. So that offers him some pretty potent offense, potentially. We'll see how he does. And finally, another old favorite, Lord Max, the Wraith, with pretty standard build. He's got the Malevolent Will, enabling him to spend his action to turn hits into crits when he attacks. Life Drain to gain back health when he hits an opponent. Ferocious converts a blank die to a hit anytime he melee attacks. That's really good on him. And Iron Will is a defensive ability which lets you either flip a crit face down or discard an effect token. I think it's a good pick for Jay. He's clearly trying to anticipate my some of my control tactics against him. We'll see how that works, but in general, for future reference, I think it's a good idea. And we'll move on to my list. As I said before, it was thrown together at the last minute without referring to the Legion Builder online. So the first thing you may notice is that I am at 192 points, 8 points underbuilt. But nevertheless, let's look at the creatures. Sarpiel, the Angel, Movanic Angel, with the Adamantine Lance, giving him penetrating damage on his melee attacks. Sacred Plate Mail, giving him a little better armor and the ability to turn a crit to a hit when he's attacked. And Prayer of Healing, healing spell that's a little redundant with his special ability, but it also has that attacking capability versus creatures with the negative energy type of just doing 2 damage to them without having to roll anything. And I mean, like I said, Jay did ask me to build against him, so this was the main thing I did, to build against him, because he's got 2 negative energy creatures, both of whom I'd love to do 2 flat-out damage to. Next we've got the other angel, Oroniel, the Solar Angel, prize for the Tyranny of Dragons Month 6 tournament. So I'm going to try him out, see how he works. I put Furious Blow on him as his heroic upgrade, a discard for 2 extra attack dice, so he can spike damage on 1 really big attack. Next we've got the Adamantine Lance making his melee attacks penetrating. And next, for some defense, we've got the Arrow Catching Shield. However, the Arrow Catching Shield, while not strictly illegal to build on him, is... if you don't have a mount upgrade, you have to discard it immediately. So technically, with this build, I would have had to discard Arrow Catching Shield immediately upon starting the game. I didn't actually notice that when we were playing. Now, had I realized that, I could have put the Deep Red Iron Stone on Oroniel and accomplished much the same effect, very similar effect, slightly less good against ranged attacks, but as you'll see, he didn't take much ranged attacks during the game. So my thought is we can just pretend that the Arrow Catching Shield is the Deep Red Iron Stone for this game. I won't tell if you won't, except that I did. But what are you going to do? Anyway, moving on, we've got Blade Barrier, a defensive divine spell. Extra dice versus ranged attacks, and when you're attacked with a melee attack, it damages your attacker back. I think I've tried it before. I keep wanting to give this a try and see if I can get something out of it, and we'll see. And then we've got Branding Smite, which I wanted to try because it seems like an interesting counter to Lord Max. It gives you a +1 attack die, but it also prevents the defender from rolling more than 2 defense dice. Those 4 defense dice on Lord Max are one of the big things that make him hard to hit. And so it'd be interesting to see if we can nerf that or suppress that a little bit. Next, I've got the Dwarven Ballista with Dwarven Precision, converting hits into crits. Pretty standard filler. And finally, Nemestra, the Elven Spellcaster, with her Staff of Power, Disintegrate, Confusion, and Suggestion. These are all spells that I've had recourse to quite a bit recently, and I guess just keep going back to that well. Maybe next time I'll try to switch it up, but for now, sticking with the tried and true. Disintegrate, of course, is a big destructive attack spell, and Confusion and Suggestion are control spells that if you've been watching this, you've seen them before. But let's go ahead and see how this all plays out. Okay, let's take a look at some action here. I'm deployed in a pretty blocky formation, which I don't do often, but that's because of Oroniel's special ability. I want to try to take advantage of that, and Ballista's going to go 2 bank, take an exhaustion token, and Jay has split his forces sort of in Mogros on one side and the Flayer and Maximilian on the other, so I'm going to sort of head everyone over towards these 2 and try to see if I can do something about that. concentrate my attacks in that direction. Angel is landing so that Big Angel can fly over him in a little bit. And Maximilian has crept forward a little bit and taken a dodge token. I've sort of gotten used to Jay coming out really aggressively lately, but he looks like he's gone back to slow rolling on me. Here comes Aroniel, got the flyover. He's going to go ahead and dodge. I'm going to give dodge to Sarpiel too. I forgot to do his action earlier. And then we'll go ahead and have Nemestra come forward. And she's just doing a 2 straight. I kind of wanted to preserve her options of either breaking left with the rest of the group or breaking right if I need to sort of use her control spells to get a handle on Mogros if possible. She's dodging. Zeno is going to come forward and cast Fly on himself, getting ready for the battle. And then Mogros is going to come in here. I didn't notice he was right at the baseline. That's very conservative. He's going to come in pretty slowly. I suspect Jay is planning on having him come in and come in behind us after we engage these two, sort of in the middle of the field. No, we're on round 2. There was obviously no combat in that round. The ballista's doing a 1 forward to clear that stress token, and he's taking a concentrate, and Sarpiel doing a 3 forward. And he's going to take off into the air and concentrate. And now we've got Lord Max coming in, still coming in pretty slow. Dodge token for Lord Max. Jay's still playing pretty defensively. Oroniel's going to come up here. He's going to fall off his stand. Excellent. He's actually kind of wobbly. It's a little annoying. And we'll do some field repairs. And Oroniel's action is going to be Blade Barrier, a little defensive action there. There's Jeremy looking at my Blade Barrier spell. And we've got Oroniel back on his stand. Moving on to Nemestra. And she is indeed going to break right in the direction of Mogros, see what she can do about him. And her action is going to be to take a target. He's probably not going to come in close enough for suggestion or disintegrate, but it's basically what she does. So if he does come in close enough, she'll be ready. I don't think it's physically possible. What are you going to do? Probably should have dodged, realistically. So we've got Zeno moving up into attacking range. Zeno, of course, has some interesting options, and he's going to choose Dominator and target Oroniel, force him to move forward and land. So he's going to pick this 1 to the right, and I think Jay was hoping that a sliver of my base would still be in his front arc, but I cleared his front arc pretty handily. And we're going to put that ground token there. Has to land due to Dominator. And we'll move on to Mogros. Coming forward pretty fast now. I think he's still going to be pretty far away, still out of breath weapon range certainly, and definitely out of disintegrate or suggestion range. And he's going to take a dodge token, more or less as a default choice, I would think. And we're going to have an unusually slow turn 2 combat round with no attacks from Magros, who is out of range. Zeno could Mind Blast if he had a concentrate token, but he does not. And Max could attack the Angel if he had swooped, but he didn't. Jay didn't anticipate the Angel being there when he was moving toward Max. So we're going all the way down to Sarpiel. And I'm going to target Lord Max, make sure he's in arc. He is. That also confirms that the Mind Flayer was out of my arc, which I suspected was true. Spear's only range 3, though, so Lord Max is at range 4, so that's not going to go. And the only other potential attacker is my Ballista. I'm going to check and see if I've got range to the Mind Flayer in a minute here. And yeah, there it is, but no range, so that turn 2 went with no illegal attacks, very rare, with no successful attacks, I should say. So in our round 3, Ballista's going to move forward again, taking an eye. I think I thought about curving him a little, but felt like this was a better placement. Angel's coming forward a little, taking a concentrate token. Still hoping we're going to set up a situation where Oroniel can. What am I looking at? Situation where Oroniel can get a hit on Max, and Sarpiel can finish him off just by popping Prayer of Healing on him. It's hard to get that to happen though. Max is. Feel like he's gonna. He could fly over. Yeah, he's flying over, and his action is going to be to use his special ability to do a speed 1 maneuver. He's going to come forward and get within striking range of both the Ballista and the Wizard there. And moving on to Oroniel, he is going to back up. Since he's on the ground, he's got a white backup. Pretty handy. I'm hoping that this Mind Flayer is going to... But honestly, I forgot that the Mind Flayer was flying. I thought he was going to have to bump me, but, well, he's flying. So, there you go. And for my action, I just re-enabled Blade Barrier. I was sort of... took some time in the cut there to look at the situation and decided that things were not actually... I think I realized that the Mind Flayer actually was going to just fly over me, and then that there was not going to be much point in trying to do anything offensive. And so it came to pass. There he is. And he's going to swoop. And concentrate, preparatory to a Mind Blast. We did the Mind Flayer out of order. I'm now realizing we should have done Nemestra before the Mind Flayer. So I'm going to do Nemestra right quick here. She's going to back up. And target token, that is what she does. Magros is coming in pretty fast. That's going to get him within breath weapon range, but he's also going to be within range of my Disintegrate. So we're going to have some fighting now. And that, I believe, is a target token on Magros. Funny how his head is in exactly the right place to block what is actually on that token. That is inexplicable how perfect that is. Looks like he's doing Zeno's attack first. And I think he's actually going to just tentacle attack the Ballista. He's going to also be breath weaponing, I think he anticipates, so doesn't really want to use the Mind Blast excessively, I guess. I think it'd be worth it. Anyway, Three hits and a crit. Ballista will block one of those hits. And Xenos, so the Ballista will take 2 hits and a crit. And it'll trigger Xeno's special ability, so the Ballista will not be able to attack Xeno, which is the only creature in its arc. I believe that's debilitated. Um, since Xeno's the only creature in the Ballista's arc, that means the Ballista won't attack at all this turn. So pretty effective use of Xeno's ability. That's why he didn't Mind Blast, so he could get that off. It only goes off if you tentacle attack. And we'll move on to Magros. He's going to Fire Breath the Ballista and the Mestra, starting with the Ballista. It's 2 eyeballs, 1 crit, which is enough to kill the Ballista. It's crushed, so I'm just going to go ahead and roll the die. It could be a crit. It could put a stunned crit on him, but it doesn't really matter, actually, since he couldn't attack anyway, due to Xeno's ability. Now we're going to do Nemestra. And looks like a pretty strong hit. He's going to spend his target token. We've got 2 hits and a crit. We're going to turn up, I believe, another crit. 2 hits, 2 crits. Nemestra is going to dodge 1 hit. Take a hit and 2 crits. That's pretty bad. One of them is shattered. That's not going to matter. The other one is subdued. It's going to prevent her from doing actions on her action bar. And that is the wrong place. There we go. That's what happened. And now it's every wizard lover's favorite moment, time to cast Disintegrate. So we're disabling the Staff of Power so we don't have to spend the target token. Got to range 2. I roll 6 dice. Pretty powerful roll. 2 hits, 2 crits, and we're going to use Disintegrate to convert that eye into one more hit. So that's 3 crits and 3 hits, and the crits are Deep Wound and Dazed, which is a nice little combo there, since Deep Wound potentially does extra damage to you unless you get rid of it with an action. And when you're dazed, you can't take any actions next turn. So that's kind of a nice little situation there. For me, obviously, not Jay. And we're moving on to Lord Max, who has the only other attack on the table in this situation. And he's going to go ahead and take a shot at Nemestra. Try to get her off the board. And we got nothing. So that combat round is over. And we're moving on to round 4. Starting with Sarpiel, now that the Ballista's dead, he's going to pivot, try to stay relevant. Remain swooping as well. Next is Lord Max. Looks like he's going to keep trying to finish off Nemestra. Don't see an action on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Got ahead of myself there. Swooping and a target token for Lord Max. And Oroniel is going to come around hard right, also trying to get back into a situation where he can do some good. Oh. What? Oh, that's right. Jay meant to land, so give me a backseat. Pretty clear he's going to fly over with Magros when he gets the chance. Oroniel is swooping, and we'll go ahead and do Concentrate for Oroniel's action. I'm trying to check out that arc there. Nemestra will move next. She's going to back up. Shouldn't be that hard to do a backup. There we go. Not sure what the trouble was. Arguably, that borders on cheating. Oh well. She's casting confusion on Magros there. She has a subdued crit, so she can't do the actions on her action bar. She can do an action on an upgrade token. So that's that, and we'll move on to the Xeno, the Mind Flayer. Just moving forward. Oh no. Yeah, he's coming around. Using that fly dial as a white turnaround. Always nice. And his action will be to target. Looks like he's going to go ahead and try to lock down Oroniel there. We got Magros doing I think that was a 4, but kind of looks like it. He is going to go ahead and fly over all these guys on the ground. Boop, there he goes. And he's going to go ahead and land. Still has that dazed crit on him, so he can't do an action this turn. And he'll have to roll this deep wound crit. Got another damage on him from that deep wound. The gift that keeps on giving. The crit that keeps on critting. Anyway. He's got his attack now, so he's going to tail whip Nemestra. Of course, he's down to 3 dice from the confusion spell. Got 1 hit. That is a potential kill. We'll have to check the dice. Nope. She dodged with style. Looks like we're going to do Xeno's attack here, attacking Oroniel. Big play. And we've got 5 dice coming in with his tentacles. Looks like 2 hits, 2 eyeballs, and a blank. He's going to go ahead and spend the target token and pull up 1 more hit. Oroniel's going to roll 4 dice. Got 1 dodge, and 2 hits are going to be blocked by armor, so Oroniel makes a clean getaway and does not have to take the that special ability lockdown. So he's going to get to attack Xeno. And of course, we're going to pretend that that extra defense die was from the perfectly legal deep red Ironstone and not the not legal arrow catching shield. In any case, it's on to Oroniel's attack. Nemestra doesn't have, well, technically she could hit Lord Max with her stick, but I didn't even think about it. She could have blown up her Staff of Power. Unless you can't do that when it's disabled. I wish I had thought of that. Didn't even occur to me. Anyway, Oroniel is flipping Furious Blow to roll 7 dice against Xeno. And this is going to be the extra die there. We're going to spend the Concentrate token and get a total of 5 hits. We've got the Adamantine Lance, so that is penetrating. And no dodges on Xeno's dice, so he is going to go down in 1 hit. Feels good to be an angel today. A cheating angel. Then we're going to go ahead and do Sarpiel's attack. Technically we skipped Lord Max, but we'll remember that and get back to him in a second. Sarpiel throwing his spear at Lord Max, so range attack. Gets 1 hit that is going to be blocked by armor. So we'll go down to Lord Max attacking Nemestra. And looks like nothing on those dice, but he's going to target token that. And get, I believe, a hit and a crit. And nothing. So that is going to be enough to take her out of the game. There she goes. And we move on to round 5. It's a tricky situation, not necessarily looking great for my Angels, but I did get Xeno off the board, and Magros is pretty badly damaged. Sarpiel's going to come in pretty hard here. Hard right, do a Concentrate. Still hoping to get that Prayer of Healing on one of these creatures and finish it off. have Lord Max go ahead and turn around, get ready to get back in the fight against these angels. As always, Lord Max's movement is super efficient. He's just got an incredible ability to roll up on a target wherever it is on the board every turn, circumstances permitting. And he's using his special ability to do an extra one maneuver and come in, try to get at Sarpiel. So now we're having Oroniel go hard too. Looks like we've got Max right where we want him and right where he wants us to, unfortunately. And I agonized a bit about what action exactly to take. I decided to take a chance on Branding Smite, which ideally I would have done it last round. But I concentrated last round for the attack on Xeno. So you can't have everything, but I am going to go ahead and end up choosing Branding Smite. The anti-defense dice component of Branding Smite is really strong against Lord Max, but it does feel uncomfortable not having any way to re-roll dice or convert eyeballs. Mogros is going to do a 1 forward. It would have been nice to turn around, but Jay still has that deep wound face up. Well, he just flipped it over, but he needed his action to flip that deep wound crit, so he wouldn't have to roll for it this turn. If he had rolled and gotten a hit, he would have bled out basically, and Mogros would be dead. So that was necessary. We had I got a little confused about confusion, whether it still had a time token on it, and it does. So it's looking like Mogros has no attack. I always think he's an ancient and has a 3-tail, but he's actually only an adult. We're going to go ahead and move on to Oroniel, and we'll find out how this Branding Smite worked out for us. Oh, not great. 1 hit. Of course, Lord Max only has 2 defense dice to roll against it. And there you go. He defended. I think we all know what that was. All right. Moving on. I think I was circumstances will show that I was a little hard on Branding Smite there. It's actually not that bad. Anyway, Lord Max hitting back. He's going to go ahead and go for Oroniel, being the bigger threat. And here we go with the dice. That is 3 hits, and he's going to use Ferocious to convert a blank to another hit. That's what we're talking about right now. So I've got 1 dodge off of 4 hits, and so that's 3 damage Oroniel is going to take. And we can move on to Sarpiel, I think. And tempting as it was to use Prayer of Healing to just do 2 damage to Lord Max, that's not necessarily going to help me kill him in the long run. And I'm thinking with all that damage on Oroniel that I'm going to need to actually use it to heal him. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a stab at Lord Max with my lance. So here we go with Sarpiel's attack. Looks like we got a crit. Concentrate, 2 hits and a crit. And here comes the defense dice. We've got 1 dodge. And Incorporeal will convert an eyeball to a dodge. That leaves a crit getting through on Lord Max. And I believe it's crushed. We're going to see the die roll. It's an eyeball, no extra damage. That's always disappointing. You really want to see as much damage as possible on Lord Max. that's self-explanatory, really. Anyway, round 6, Sarpy will take the first move. He's going to move forward a little, land, and heal Oroniel. He landed because I was anticipating Mogros pivoting and being able to Fire Breath both of my angels. I wasn't sure where Lord Max was going to be. As it turns out, I mean, if Sarpiel was still in the air, he wouldn't be able to Fire Breath both of my angels without also getting Lord Max based on where he put Max. So in retrospect, if I could have read that, I might have gotten made a little better decision there, but it's fine. In retrospect, I mean, at the time, with the information I had at the time, I think it was a good decision. And Oroniel will pivot. I am a little frustrated. It was a painful decision to do that pivot. I would really have rather had the ability to do an action, but I just felt like I had to stay on target on Max, and pivot was the only way I could think of to make sure I could do that. I'm going to go ahead and stay facing that way because I've got the attack on Max from there, and if I don't kill him this turn, I'll be able to track him as he heads across my front. But it really did hurt to lose that action. I still have Branding Smite up though because it is a two-time token upgrade. Is what I'm trying to say. And there's Mogros' pivot as expected. He could have taken off, but he didn't think to, I guess. By the way, I should mention now that Sarpiel using the Prayer of Healing should have put a no attack token on him. I just completely forgot about that, but we'll get into that as the game continues. In any case, Mogros will go ahead and Fire Breath Sarpiel. It's 2 hits. We're going to put 2 damage out, but Jeremy helpfully points out that I should roll some defense dice maybe. Okay, only 1 damage. And Oroniel is attacking Lord Max. Still got his Branding Smite, so hopefully that'll work out for me. Looks good. 2 crits and a hit. Lord Max is rolling 2 defense dice due to the Branding Smite, and nothing on those dice. And that is going to... it might be Shattered. I forget what the crits were. Shattered and Subdued, I think. Or Disarmed and Subdued. In any case, that's killing damage on Lord Max, but he does have the chance to stay alive if he can life drain, get a hit on me and life drain, and get one of those cards off. So let's find out how he does. Suspenseful. 5 dice because of the pivot token. And there's the roll. It's 2 eyeballs, hit and 2 crits. Malevolent will convert the hit to a crit. Forgot to comment that. I've got 3 defense dice, and I'm 3 dodges, and I'm super excited to get that. I'm going to clean dodge Lord Max's attack, but Jay forgot whether he had blank dice showing, so we've got a little... I'm taking the camera down to check the footage and confirm that Max did indeed have no dice showing, and no blank faces that he could convert with Ferocious, and so that was the kill on Lord Max. Jay went ahead and conceded on the assumption that Sarpiel would be attacking what's his face, Mogros that turn, But in fact, like I said earlier, he should have had a no attack token on him from Prayer of Healing. So it wasn't actually as cut and dried on that as that may seem. So that said, I think what I would have done if it had gone another turn was have Sarpiel back up since he was on the ground, take off and heal Oroniel of his last damage, and have Oroniel just come forward ahead of him and sort of jam Maugros' path since Maugros was on the ground, and just face off with Maugros. With Oroniel being clean of damage, it's super unlikely that Maugros would be able to do the full 5 damage to him that was required to kill him, and I think Oroniel could have easily killed Maugros that turn with his Adamantine Lance. So, although it's kind of a star on the play situation, I do think I had Maugros over a barrel, and so the results of the game are not too compromised. And overall, it was a pretty interesting game with a lot of twists and turns. So I think worth putting up on the website. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we should be back next week with another game. This time with Jay and Jeremy, I believe. And I will see you then.